Hello and welcome back to my channel, Milsurp Rifles 1945. Today we're going to continue our examination of Nagoya Production Type 99 rifles. We've already looked at the 0 series and the first series. So to continue forward, we're going to examine the second and third series. We're combining these two rifles because essentially there are very few changes in Nagoya production between the first series and really till the fourth series. There's a few small things that you'll run across, but really at the end of the day, they're almost exactly the same. But this will help you identify some of the differences and know the little nuances of production, a few things the Japanese changed. So let's first start by looking at the arsenal markings for both rifles. And the first spot we're going to look at is on the left-hand side of the receiver. This is where we'll find all our information about the origin of this rifle, starting right here with our series proof mark. So these rifles were made starting with serial number 0 all the way to 99,999 for a total of 100,000 rifles produced. Second, you'll have your serial number right here. So this rifle is near the end of second series production with a 76,000 serial number. You've got your Nagoya arsenal proof. And then finally right here, although it's hard to tell, that is also a final proof mark, Na for Nagoya. And here's our other rifle we'll be examining today. This is a third series Nagoya, so right there is your third series proof mark. It is a little poorly struck. You can see you're missing the top part. That is not too uncommon with these. These were hand numbered like that. And actually this rifle shows some indication of that hand numbering right here. You can see where the 5 was struck over another number. In this case, there was an error more likely, and instead of just scrubbing it or anything like that, the Japanese stamped it over. This isn't something uncommon, and it's not indicative of a faked rifle or anything like that. You want to look at everything on the whole of the rifle to determine something like that. There are definitely faked serial numbers popping up more often now on Japanese rifles, but things like these are often arsenal mistakes and can be explained in that way. And as usual, Nagoya mark and the Na proof mark right there. And here's a view of the rifles from the top of the receiver. And in this case, you can see both have intact chrysanthemums and both have the standard Type 99 text directly underneath. To discuss this, a lot of people wonder why there is a hole drilled here and sometimes think it's some kind of sporterization thing, but this is essentially a gas relief hole. If there were to be a ruptured case, this gives somewhere for the gas to vent out. Type 99s will typically only have one. Type 38s will have 2 of those vent holes. That's how a lot of people sometimes identify these rifles real quickly to see which kind you have. Continuing up to the rear sights, we can see that both of these rifles have their anti-aircraft wings attached. We discussed these in the first series video and the no series video. These will not start to disappear until around the 5th series. So you'll see these continue onward up until around that time for Nagoya rifles. And also like our 0 series and first series rifles, both of these examples are equipped with monopods that fold down. This is standard up until around the end of the 4th series and maybe the very, very early 5th series, but after that, these tend to disappear. And finally, we can see that both rifles are equipped with dust covers. These will continue into the 5th series, and on these examples, both dust covers are numbered matching to each rifle. So now we'll take a look at one of the examples of a change between these series. So on the top, we have the first series rifle we looked at in the previous video, and below that is the second series rifle we're looking at today. And you can notice that the front sight on the first series is a little bit taller than the second series, so they actually switched to from a 1 5/16 inch tall sight to a 1 1/4 inch tall sight. On the early rifles like the first series, the front band will actually not be able to go over the front sight wings. And on the second series and later, it actually will go right over that. That appears to have occurred in the late first series, but definitely by the second series, you have those shorter front sights. Another small change here is on the rear sight base. As you can see on our first series example, this is only milled out to this point, while on our second series, it almost goes all the way directly to where the rear sight slider meets the base. This is to help keep that slider from moving when the rifle is shot. More than likely, this is something that was noticed in the field and later changed in production. And you'll see that on the rest of Type 99s from Nagoya that were produced up until that rear sight was eliminated in favor of the fixed peep sight. And once again, we'll examine the location of serial numbers on these early rifles. It is essentially exactly the same as the 0 and first series rifles. Right on your left-hand side of the receiver, you start with your full-on serial number. Next, you'll see the last 3 digits of the serial number on your bolt body and the extractor located right here. You will also have it on the stem of your safety right here. The body of your firing pin will also have the serial number located in the middle like this. Your dust cover will also be proofed and serialized on the back rim like this. And you can see right here a small reproof for the Torimatsu factory that produced these Type 99s. And the final location will be the front band on the bottom of your bayonet lug. And on these rifles, you still have the push release for a long style cleaning rod held in by this little indent here. Basically, you push down on this, and that will release your cleaning rod. And you will see this cleaning rod up until the 5th series. And just like the earlier rifles, we still have a chromed bolt face that you'll see up until around the 5th series and into even the 6th. And then you also have your intricate style safety that will start disappearing late in the 6th series. And one final thing to look at is that both these rifles have original slings attached to them. This is more of the leather style, and here you have the rubberized canvas, which, as discussed in the first series, these tend to get a little bit hardened over the years and almost fall apart at times. This rifle in particular came from a basement and was very poorly kept. So this sling has kind of melted. It's very hard. It will not come off this rifle, while this leather one still has some pliability to it, and you could definitely take this off. It is easily damaged if you hold it as it was intended to be and slung over the shoulder. So I would recommend, if you do have a sling on a Japanese Type 99 like this, you just leave it be. Do not use it. They're there mostly for the historical context. So I thank you once again for tuning in at our look at Nagoya production Type 99s. As we're going to start moving forward, the rifles are going to start to see a lot of different changes. Nagoya really started instituting a lot of what they call the substitute kind of measures starting around the 5th series. So we're going to see a lot of different things happen there and moving forward. These 2 examples are fairly interesting rifles. The 3rd series can be very tough to find in complete condition. We don't know why. There's just certain series that you find are more difficult to come across with everything still intact like this. So to find a 3rd series like this with everything on it still, all matching, intact mum, is kind of difficult to do in this day and age. 2nd series rifles are a bit more common to find with everything still intact. So whether or not the 3rd series rifles ended up, somewhere where they just were destroyed or on a ship that sank somewhere, it's hard to say exactly, but typically you don't see them with everything still on it like this. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll examine the 4th and 5th series rifles in our next video. Thank you.